from George Sports Stories, and today's episode, with a little mini live session discussion, we're going to talk about Week 8 in the NFL. We've got a lot of things. We've got quite a things that have happened, like Josh McDaniels getting fired, Desmond Ridder getting benched. The 49ers are struggling for whatever reason. I'll break that down in just a second. Let's see. Kansas City seems to have some woes going on or whatever. Atlanta needs a quarterback, or it's Heineke time down here. And my Titans, and more. Baltimore looks good for right now. They need to stay consistent. I'd rather not talk about the Featherbrains. I'd rather not. But, yeah. So it'll be I got quite a bit planned because I had quite a bit to talk about. Oh, I also wanted to talk about James Harden finally getting traded, so we don't have to talk about... I'm not talking about James Harden unless he does something astonishing. I just flat out refuse. So, that being said, first things first, I'm going to get into the 49ers and why they are struggling. There seems to be different type of angles that we can go when it comes to why the 49ers are struggling. Some people are saying this is solely a Brock Purdy issue. Some people are saying this is solely a defensive issue. Me, I think it's both. The offense isn't running right ever since Debo got hurt. They haven't scored more than 17 points in their past 3 games. That means, and they lost their last 3 games. So, that being said, they're in a slump. And Brock Purdy the one thing that we've said about Brock Purdy is he hasn't turned the ball over previously. Well, he's starting to turn the ball over a little bit more. Debo Samuel isn't there anymore. Not anymore. He's hurt. But they need Debo Samuel back and Trent Williams. Trent Williams is injured. Is it more on the offense or is it more on the defense? Now, the defense don't look the same either. They're having issues. What's up, Kyle? Thanks for tuning in. The defense is also having issues stopping the run for whatever reason, which is probably why they went and got Chase Young. They're having some kind of leakage going on with the defense. I don't know what that is. But the 49ers, it's kind of like I kind of figured this day would happen. Because here's the thing. Shanahan is going to be Shanahan's own enemy. And eventually, like I said a year or two ago, and it's not like I've been preying on this man's downfall. I said eventually the quarterback carousel or the quarterback conundrum will come back to bite him in the butt. If those 10 games were just a 10-game fluke and he starts to stink it up for real, and then you have all these defensive injuries, like the 49ers are always injured. That's one thing I have noticed about them. They always have a lot of injuries. But that's because they play a physical brand of football. We could just chalk that up to that. But it's like their issues, I feel like some of it is on coaching. But like I said, my point about Shanahan, he's going to get in his own way. Like when he was coaching down here for the Falcons, he got in his own way. Key example, the Super Bowl, all you had to do was run the ball. That's literally it. All he literally had to do was run the ball. And instead of running the football, he decides to put it in Matty Ice's hands, and what happened? He threw it away. So, Kyle Shanahan prides himself on this being this type of egotistical genius, intellect. He's very smart. He knows how to scheme. I will give him that. He's very top tier. But he does get in his own way. Like, if you know Debo Samuel isn't there, and your offense is and your quarterback is turning the ball over a little bit more than you would like, even though I don't think you would like it regardless. But if your quarterback is turning a bit more over more, excuse me, we have an issue. And you're not tailoring the offense, like dialing it and reeling it in, because we know what the issue is. Trent Williams is hurt, so the protection's a little shaky right now, and Deebo Samuels is also hurt. So he doesn't have a target, but there's so many weapons that he does have that it doesn't make sense why he's not getting the ball to him. So there's that excuse. And then some people are already turning on Brock Purdy, saying he just ain't it. I'm like, I would have to see more of this type of gameplay, before I can literally give him 2 more games. I'll give him 3 more games. If he stinks it up like this for 3 more games, all right. Because then we're having more 10 games of pretty good play, 6 games of trash games, 6 trash games, and that pretty much means you're average. So, that's my math right there. But, yeah, give it a few more games. Hopefully, knowing that Kyle Shanahan is a offensive genius, that he could kind of get it together a little bit. Kansas City. Now, they did lose to Denver. Denver got a quality win. I'm glad I'm not having to rip on the Broncos today. That is also true. And I don't know why he's forcing the ball, forcing any throws when Deebo Samuel is not there. So, that is also true. Now, Kansas City, they have a different issue. And it's funny because when the optics, now, I really don't care. Me, as a fan, I don't care what these athletes do in their spare time. But the optics of Pat Mahomes and Travis Kelce going to the World Series game in Texas on a Friday, knowing that they have a game in Colorado in a cold weather stadium that was supposed to be 29 degrees in the Mile High Stadium on Sunday, it isn't very smart. Patrick Mahomes was sick. Go figure. And the wide receivers, Kansas City's wide receiver room is just one of those that confuses me. Because it's like, what are you really? They show flashes of what they could be, and then they start dropping the ball. They start having issues separating. And it's like, there's no trust between Mahomes and his receivers. The only receiver that he has to trust is Kelce. And Kelsey's getting up there. And he has injuries. He's getting up there in age and he has injuries. So, I knew they was going to regret not paying Tyreek. But I'm glad for Tyreek. Excuse my stuttering. That grass was greener on the other side, even though they haven't went to a Super Bowl yet. But we'll get into that. And they just came out flat. Like, they weren't focused. Like, this is how the Chiefs pull this type of crap every year. It's the Chiefs. I feel like they'll be fine. But they pull this type of crap where they come unfocused, come out flat, they get beat. And sometimes they'll get back on the roll. It is a concern though, those receivers though. That and the thing about Kelce and that too. Because Mahomes isn't Superman. He can't run it and catch it and throw it to himself. And make the receiver separate and catch the ball. He can't do that. So, there's concern there. Atlanta. Now, I had fun watching Desmond Ridder get sacked and strip sacked and all of that. I actually had quite a bit of fun of watching that because it was my Titans. I'm very eager to admit that. I'm very to admit that. But I also know that living down here, Falcons fans aren't happy. They're tired. And it's hilarious to me because, if you live down here and you talk to a Falcons fan, you know what they want to do. Fire Arthur Smith. That's just going to be the issue. That's just going to be the solution. Even though, in hindsight, it might. But before we even get to that part of the ledge, Desmond Ridder is definitely not a starting quarterback in this league. He's a backup. Somebody who could... He's maybe a backup. He could be a third stringer. He's not a starter. Let's just see. 5 sacks, a fumble, a few throws that could have been picks. The usual Desmond Ridder sauce that he's throwing up here in the A. The usual. And with him fumbling the football like this and taking sacks like this, I had fun watching it. Arthur Smith did not. There was a reason why, after he got checked out for that concussion that he did not have, that Arthur Smith decided to sit him. And the fact that he said it wasn't performance-based was complete horse crap. We all know what it is. Arthur Smith know at this point that if he don't fix Desmond Ridder or change something, like change to Taylor Heineke or whatever, his job is on the line. Desmond Ridder ain't it. And last year and I realized the mistakes that the Falcons have made from last year, how that's kind of seeping over into this year. Because the way I look at it, we would have been known last year that Desmond Ridder wasn't it. But they didn't give him a lot of time last year to, well, me personally, I needed to see more. I just realized I just felt like last year they got sick and tired of Mariota and getting that year. And they just threw him out there. This year, I'm thinking he will be a little bit better. He's had more time to know the system, learn everything, get it under his grasp. And he's still trash. So that's my issue there. Like last year, Marcus Mariota wasn't getting the job done. They should have benched him earlier. They wasted a whole year, pretty much all the season with fooling around with Marcus Mariota. Arthur Smith did. They would have found out that Desmond Ridder wasn't it, and then they would have just had to go back to the drawing board. And now, look, he's being softly benched. And if he crumbles, he wasn't meant to be a starter in the first place. And that's just that. Oh, and the defense, that top 10 defense did get burned a few times. I will admit that was offensive pass interference. But I was so happy to see that they didn't call that flag. Because I'm so used to BS flags being called, I was glad that we got one to go our way. That shouldn't have. And the Falcons lost a huge part of that defense in Grady Jarrett. He has a torn ACL. The secondary got burned a few times. I don't know what A.J. Terrell was doing on that one. He burnt Terrell. I don't know who else he burnt. I'm talking about D-Hop. But yeah, the secondary didn't do too good of a job. But that Falcons defense is still a pretty good defense. That's what makes Will Levis his debut seamless transition into my Titans. That's what kind of makes Will Levis' debut a little bit more on the unique side. Well, not unique. It's impressive. That was the word I was looking for. It's impressive because the Falcons defense is a top 10 defense. And look and behold, how long has it been since I was able to say that? The Falcons have a top 10 defense. I kind of can't believe it. because it's been a minute. I think. Was it 2016? The year we went to the Super Bowl? Yep. It's been a minute, but look, they got a top 10 defense. Makes Will Levis what his debut did a little bit more impressive. 4 touchdowns, 238. He was pushing the ball down the field. Tim Kelly, not Todd. Tim Kelly was dialing it up. They got a good even dose of run, and we were able to push the ball down the field. I was so happy to see touchdowns. It's been hard for whatever reason. And now it's kind of making watching Levis go in there and slice that defense up like butter. And then tomorrow we play Pittsburgh. That might be a different animal, but I have high hopes. He's poised. He has confidence. I didn't like him coming out of Kentucky because I just didn't see it. But maybe I just don't know what the hell I'm looking at, and I was wrong. I'll admit when I'm wrong. I will admit when I'm wrong if this kid is it. But I need to see a little bit more. He'll have an opportunity tomorrow, but I liked what I saw. That means Tannehill need to get the heck up out of Tennessee. I mean, I love Tannehill. I've gone on a limb to defend Tannehill. If ask anybody, I will defend the crap out of Tannehill, especially when people get to talking crazy. Like he's just trash because of one game where he threw 3 picks. Even though this year, he's had some questionable moments himself. He's just one of those that he needs to be in a good situation all around and consistently. Like, Tannehill is a good quarterback. He's very good at play action pass. He could use his legs, but he's had 2 high ankle sprains. That might seal the deal with that. But yeah, he's run his course. I will admit that. It's time to move on from him. If Will Levis is it, I don't know what we're going to do with Malik. I will say this, though. Since I'm on the topic of Malik, what Titans fans did to him was absolutely unacceptable. And I don't give a damn what excuse they say about they were booing at Vrabel or whatever type of BS excuse that they want to type on their Twitter keyboards. It's BS. You don't boo when the offense comes out. Period. Not your own offense. Y'all booed, especially when he came out. Y'all didn't boo when Derek came out. Y'all didn't boo when the O-line came out. It was when Malik Willis specifically. And I understand he's humble. I understand the frustration we had with the whole 2 quarterbacks thing. That does not... If somebody had did that to your kid, you would have been pissed. If somebody had did that to your brother, you would have been pissed. Quit acting like these people ain't damn human just because you pay to damn go to the game. We have fans, and the fans are entitled to having the right to boo. Bull. Horse crap. You ain't entitled to the right to treat nobody like that. Period. I don't give a damn how much fucking money you spend on the fucking Titans. I don't care. Like, that's just the stuff that you just don't do to people. I don't like when people do that. I don't like when people cheer for injuries. I don't like when people root for injuries. I don't like when people boo people like that. Especially when it's on your own goddamn team. Now I'm going on a damn tangent. I just can't stand it. I'm an empath. I feel for people. I don't like nasty human beings. Just like when the people were rooting for, when certain Titans fans were saying that they wanted Ryan Tannehill to break every bone in his body. That's evil, malicious, and pathetic. And what type of energy you will put out there, you will get it in return. And there's a certain select group of Titans fans that just want to see Malik Willis fail. You know exactly who the hell I'm talking to and who the hell I'm talking about. It just never ends. I want Malik to succeed, clearly. Whether it's in Nashville or not, I want him to succeed because he has the talent. He just needs to stop second damn guessing himself all the time and just do it. Just do it. That's his issue. That's his biggest issue right there. Rant over. Defense. My defense had one of those games. Now, thank you. You couldn't have said it even better. Give the man a break. He is still developing. He looks a lot better than he did when he came into the league. That's all you can ask for. He even won Vrabel over. Vrabel didn't like him. That was one of the John Robinson specials right there on the way out. He didn't want him. He grew on him because he worked and improved himself and there was visual improvements. That young man is talented. Give his ass a break. And give me a break dealing with it. Will Levis is just more ready right now. That doesn't mean Malik can't get there. Defense. My defense had one of those days. And I don't know why all of a sudden we offload Kevin Byard and my defense plays better. It's just like one of those frustrating things right there. Defense produced 6 sacks of Desmond Ridder. Well, 5 of Ridder, 1 on Heineke, I believe. Jeffrey Simmons had a field day with Caleb Lindstrom. A field day. It was hilarious. Like, just tossed him out the club, left, right. He sacked Ridder 2 times, 2.5, 2 times. He got a strip sack. My defense is pretty good. We need to keep it together. And those uniforms looked immaculate. I will start a petition to make those the permanent uniforms. Because I love it. Who else did I need to talk about? What's up, Key? There was another thing I needed to talk about. I just forgot. Hold on. Let me go back into the notes. Oh, yeah. Houston. The University of Houston. They knew what the hell they were doing. They just changed the color to be a shade off and decided to make it different. They knew they were going to get that cease and desist. They knew exactly what they were doing because that's what I wanted to talk about too. There's been some Texans fans, and I know if Dante hears this, he might. I'm not talking about you, Coach Dante. If you're ever gonna sit here and listen, or if you ever decide to show up, I'm not talking about you. I'm talking about the crybaby Houston fans who are crying about the Oilers. And I did my whole research on that situation, so it's like, y'all didn't build that man a stadium, so he took his team and the history and the colors to Tennessee, and they became the Tennessee Oilers. It wasn't just Houston Oilers and then Tennessee Titans. No, they became the Tennessee Oilers. So, can the crybaby Houston fans cut the crying? And then, what was gold, absolute gold? They had been crying to see D-Hop in the Oilers uniform. There you go, though. There you go. And Washington, the Commanders, there's changes coming. There's definitely going to be changes coming. I don't know if they're going to be any more mid-season changes, like Ron Rivera getting the boot. I don't think that's happening, but there's going to be some changes because you don't just trade Chase Young for a second-round pick and Montez Sweat for, was it a third? A pick. You just don't trade them without knowing that there's going to be some serious changes. And who traded them? I just want to know. Because was this the GM or was this Ron doing Ron things? Because if this was Ron, this is fireable if you ask me. Yeah, it is fireable if you ask me. The Giants, the midgets, did the most hilarious thing ever. They managed to win a game with -8 yards passing. Well, not win. They almost did. But then they did some of the most Giants thing. And they just folded in the span of a minute. And it was just like, one second they were fine. The other second they were like, oh my God. And it was hilarious. Because I forgot the sequence, but I feel like they had a penalty and they were all the way down on the other end. Zach Wilson drove the field in 20-something seconds and tightened game up. They lose it in overtime. That's classic Giants. Classic. That's what I was looking for. I was looking at my notes. The Raiders are trash. Because now I'm remembering everything I wanted to talk about. They fired Josh McDaniels. They shouldn't have hired Josh McDaniels. That's the thing. Or, as other people like to call him, I've called him myself, McDummy, because he's not that inept of a head coach. He took a playoff caliber roster and turned it into a hot mess that's lit on fire because nobody's happy. You had that, I feel like that tantrum, well, not tantrum, that showing of emotions that Devontae Adams had on the sidelines was definitely a catalyst, and that was probably one of the things that were like, all right, he got to go. But it's been bubbling for weeks. Have you not heard the manner and tone of which Josh Jacobs has been speaking? He's tired of it. Of course, Devontae's going to say he's tired of it because he's not even getting the ball when he's open. And it matters. He didn't even come there for Jimmy Garoppolo. He went there for Derek Carr. And then you get rid of Derek Carr, pull that rug out from under him. And he's stuck there for the rest of the season. I feel bad for him. I really do. I really do. But it's the thing is that he went to the Raiders expecting and thinking that he was going to get some stability. I'm 22 years old. Since I was like 1 or 2, the Raiders have never been stable. Never. That I remember. I might not remember a whole lot of stuff, but I always know that the Raiders have been a mess. And you look at it on the Raiders' point of view, this next hire is probably going to be one of the most important hires that they do because you can't just keep paying coaches that they're not working. Now you got to still pay Gruden for a few more years. Now you got to pay McDaniels for 4 more years. And then you'll be paying another coach. And I always thought that the reason that they wouldn't fire him was because they were just too broke because they had to pay John Gruden $100 million. But I'm not trying to pocket watch billionaires, whatever. Just can't keep firing coaches. And now you got to hire another GM. So that's more money. The Raiders have always been an issue. But who's next in my idea? Staley. Even though the Chargers have won, I think. Yeah. They've been on a nice little tear, but Brandon Staley's automatically going to be my next one to go. Because he's just not a good coach. You're a defensive coach, and your defense isn't worth 2 nickels. You're actively wasting Justin Herbert's prime. And Kellen Moore is trying to get him to do better. To really... Well, him and Kellen Moore are working to get to the offense to where it needs to be. Austin Eckler's tired of it. Did you hear what he said? Brandon Staley doesn't have that locker room. His ass is next. That should be my new segment title. Your ass is grass. Because that... him, Rivera... pretty much, boom, boom. Next to be fired. And I hope they keep their jobs. But Brandon Staley... he's not a very smart coach either. I'm forgetting what I talked about again. But the next thing I wanted to talk about, we're going to shift from the NFL while I remember, or attempt to remember, to the NBA. James Harden. He finally got traded. Praise Jesus. Praise Jesus. I'm so sick and tired of hearing about James Harden and shenanigans. And he better not get to LA and start acting a goddamn fool when shit don't go wrong. When it don't go right either. Excuse my language. I'm so sick and tired of James Harden. My lord. He's got me bent. He's done all of this. You don't show up to training camp for 10 days. You show up. Finally. Now, what does this mean for the Clippers? That they're old, injury prone, and they may or may not show up come playoff time. Congratulations. This is not just Clipper hate. I feel like I'm being real here. You're old. But they managed to keep Powell and Terrence, whatever his name is. So they still have those pieces. I feel like Philly was just ready to get rid of him. But I was like, just let him go for a pack of crackers and a bottle of water. Just let him go. But I'm glad. I'm so glad. On to my Lakers. They've been playing pretty well. They've been playing pretty solid. We'll see them again tonight. I hope they keep playing solidly. If that's a word. But Anthony Davis he's starting to be more consistent. Again, we will revisit the consistent thing with AD and health-wise closer to my birthday, which is in February. So we'll revisit this in a few months because I bet you it's going to change. But they've been playing well. I like what I've seen so far from my Lake show. Even though they're usually playing when I'm working. But I'm always working, so grind don't stop. And another team that has surprisingly been playing well that I haven't heard much about them is the Hawks. I don't know if they've turned the corner magically. If Quinn Snyder's got this team playing to the level they need to be playing at to be more successful, I need to see more from them. But I like the direction that they're heading. They beat the crap out of the Bucks. And then they turned around and beat the last person that they played. So there's that. Orlando's looking a little bit better. Orlando's looking good. The Knicks are looking good. See, now that I started playing like fantasy basketball, I'm paying attention to these teams now. And the Knicks look pretty good right now. They look good. I still think they need to get rid of Julius Randle. But they look a little bit better. I like what Emmanuel Quickly has been able to do for me and for the Knicks. Anything else that I needed to talk about? Anything else that I needed to talk about? Oh. Back to the NFL. Because there's a few Titans fans that have really decided to go overboard. And sorry to make this so Titans heavy, but this has got to be the one that's managed to tick me off the most. Fire Vrabel. And hire who? Who are we going to hire? Who? And that's going to do way more goddamn damage than good. Like, fire Vrabel. We're having quarterback issues, not locker room issues. Thanks to. It's like, you don't think that if Vrabel got fired, he wouldn't have a few jobs lined up? What's up? He wouldn't have a few jobs lined up? You dramatic Titans fans. Firing Vrabel is definitely not the answer. It's going to set you back a few more years. Because if the person that they bring in is not even going to be comparable to Vrabel, then you're just going to look stupid. So let's hold our horses. Let's get through this quarterback hard times. Let's get through this together. We can get through the offensive woes together. But the saying fire Vrabel just because he's a troll and he get on your goddamn nerve with his sarcasm and he just says he says nothing in the most eloquent way. Of course. You knew what type of coach he was when him and Rand was at the goddamn draft waving to the camera. Because you know what we did when we went through last year. With John Robinson pulling on some. Doing that. So, firing Vrabel is definitely not the answer right now. I don't think it will be the answer. To be honest. We've got our guy. He's pretty much built the culture in Nashville. He has his guys, and him and the GM are pretty much on the same page. So why the hell are we firing Mike Vrabel for? Just because he said some smart ass comments? Can we grow up? Can we have tough skin? There's another saying. I'm not going to say that, but grow the hell up. Everybody's not going to give you a cut and dry answer. Some people like to add a little flair to it. And some people just like to be trolls and throw people for a loop, like Vrabel. That man is still a good coach. Bottom line. We wouldn't be where we are today without some of the success that man has brought our organization. We wouldn't have the players we have today. Let's be real. So before you let your emotions dictate how you really feel, before you let your emotions dictate stuff that you say, just think about the consequences. Because fire Vrabel and hire who? And what's going to come next? It's not clear cut that firing the coach is going to be the answer here. You don't fire the coach unless we know that's the answer. This is not the Raiders. This is not the goddamn Chargers. We know that the issue is the coaching there. It's not the coaching here. Some people may look at it different. I don't think that is coaching. I'm thinking that it's more like inconsistent offense. It's inconsistent O-line. We have a consistency issue. I don't know if it's on the offensive coaching or it's just we have a consistency issue. But it's not to the point where BS is happening in Nashville like it is in Las Vegas or in what's gonna start happening in LA with the Chargers if they go on a losing streak. With the Chargers, like if they go on a losing streak, that man's job is done. Because the stuff that we're hearing from him is like they don't like it's tone deaf. Once, and I know what being tone deaf is. Once people really start listening and they're just there for the paycheck to get. Yeah, he's the problem. He's the problem. And you know why he's the problem? 4th down, your defense is putrid, and 27-0. You should have fired him then. That's neither here nor there. But firing Vrabel on this hand. Oh, and some of those rumors, because we reacted to trades too. So whoever started that little stupid trade rumor about my running back and the Ravens, if that would have happened, I promise you nobody would have heard from me for like a week. I promise you that. I promise you. Because I was like, that would have made me cry, for real. And I almost shed a tear for Kevin Byard. I'm very sensitive. I grow attached to my Titans. Unhealthily, maybe. Who knows? I'm just an emotional fan. But I did shed a tear. And I'm so sick and tired of Philadelphia Eagles taking my goddamn players. We are not a talent farm for the Eagles. I want everybody to get that out their way. Not a talent farm. But had those rumors about Derrick Henry going to the Ravens came to fruition, I would have fell the hell out. Y'all wouldn't have gotten in contact with me all week. And when y'all did get in contact with me, these two little eye bags would have been just as big. Just bigger than they are now. I would have lost my crap. Because Kevin Byard was a captain. Why are we trading? Now that's what I would have realized that we were tanking. For whatever reason. We're not in a tank mode. But, we're not in a tank mode, but yeah, had they traded away another captain in the middle of the season, I would have lost my mind. Period, point blank. And we're just going to leave it at that because I don't even want to think about such things happening. Give it what we got here. Let's give it what we got now. Period. All right. I think I'm done. But anything else that I'm talking about? The Eagles. I love the Eagles. But there is no way in heck that they should have won that game versus the Commanders. I love my Eagles fans. But this is why a while ago I said Ron Rivera needed to go. they look the offense looks so good sometimes, right? But why is Sam Howell getting knocked around like he is in a tilt-a-whirl with no restraints? Like, if you believe that man is the future for your franchise, for right now, for whatever, he's getting knocked around. He's getting put through a whole cycle. And I know that it's Philly, but it's not just Philly. He's averaging more than 5 sacks a game this year. Him and Daniel Jones. And if I'm the Giants, I'm keeping Daniel Jones on the bench until February. If they want to keep him healthy, he's not healthy until February. If they leave Daniel Jones, they look a lot better with Tyrod. We'll just leave that at that. The Panthers got their first win versus the Texans. And I'm so proud. Bryce Young is a capable quarterback. Please excuse my damn dogs. Rams, Cowboys. This is a game I did want to talk about because I remember looking at it at one point and I'm like, damn, Rams, can you at least pinch him? At least tackle him, at least touch him and make him say, ow. And then they were mounting a comeback. And then Dallas does what it does. Don't get it twisted. Dallas is what Dallas is, which is a front runner. And they front ran this whole game, pretty much. But a part of me did want them to blow that lead. I'm not going to lie. I'm not going to hide my Dallas disdain. I'm not, because they get too much attention. And I don't like talking about them. Especially that little clown of a linebacker that they have named Micah that don't know how to shut up. He get on my nerve too. And when we talk about the Ravens and Cardinals, the Ravens actually struggled with the Cardinals for a little bit. I'm not too sold on them. Period. I'm looking at the game rundown to refresh my memory. Give me just a second. Vikings and Packers. This one, I felt horrible for Kirk Cousins. He just has like the worst of luck. And that being said, Jordan Love isn't it. I'll just say that out loud. You got another Desmond Ridder. Slightly better than Desmond Ridder. Ain't it? Back to the drawing board. And I understand that certain people just can't stay healthy. But Jordan Love is not it. Okay, we can agree on that. He's just not seeing it right now. I'm not seeing it with him. He's either too inconsistent or he just ain't it. Period. The Bengals are back in shape. That's why I'm glad that we got to beat the crap out of them before they got back into that shape. I'm so proud of that one. I'm like, we got over the hump. They weren't playing well. When we played the Bengals, that was the time to whoop up on them. I'm glad I don't have to see them again right now. Because it's like they played, even though, yes, it was the 49ers, and the 49ers had issues. But the Bengals, once they get really rolling, it's hard for almost anybody to stop them. If we're being completely honest. Browns, Seahawks. The Seahawks made a trade for Leonard Williams once they figured out that their defense was actually kind of lacking with stopping the run or rushing the pass or whatever, however not. And they wouldn't have made a good trade. Seattle thinks that they're a lot closer than what most people think. And I admire it. That's another team that I pretty much think I had on my sleeper list. The Seahawks. And Jets, Giants. Patriots, Dolphins. I've talked about the Patriots. Dolphins did to them what they were supposed to do, but I wouldn't have been surprised if... I just feel like... Here's the thing, my thing about the Patriots. I feel like they will get it together. They will. And they will still be an 8-9 win team. Because they're a lot more competitive than what people think. This is still Bill Belichick. I don't know why we're thinking because they got Bill O'Brien as an offensive coordinator who's not that good of an offensive coordinator. Kendrick Bourne tore his ACL. That's going to hurt Mac. So it's like, they'll win some games. They won't be trash, but it ain't looking too good right now. If we're being completely honest. That should be on a shirt, if we're being completely honest. Because I say that too damn much. Yeah, yep. But I think I'm about to get up and out of here. But if you like what you heard, feel free to subscribe to the YouTube channel, like us on Facebook. I tried to get my Twitch going. It was acting a fool. So it is what it is. I do have a Twitch. I might use it. But go follow my Twitch. Click the link in my bio. Yeah, if there's a link somewhere, then you can find everywhere you can find Georgia Sports Stories. Tune in on Saturday for the audio version of Georgia Sports Stories. That'll be available on iHeart, Apple Music, Apple Music, Google Podcasts, Podbeam, all of those. All that there. Amazon. All of that there. All that there. You'll find them there. But tune in, and you can catch me over on Sports Empire Network on Saturday at 5 p.m. for Hoop Dreams and Touchdown Queens. So, that being said, I will see you next time on the next live edition. I might do this every week. Like, this is what I was thinking about doing. I'm thinking about putting the audio out on Saturday, like my audio forms, like the audio videos on my YouTube channel. Whatever. I'm thinking about putting the audio out on Saturday and then doing the weekly live reactions where we talk about a little bit of everything. Maybe next week we might go a little bit longer. I also have to cook dinner, so I gotta go. But yeah, we'll do this on Wednesdays and then we'll do audio stuff on Friday. Who the hell is that? Why are they barking? What is that? No. Okay. Anyway, yeah. That being said, y'all enjoy the rest of your evening. I'm Joy from Georgia Stories, and I'm out.